Hello. Let's talk about this weekly wellness challenge, as I have so affectionately named it. So, the inception of this whole thing came because my brother and I have been working out together since he's been home from college, and we were talking about doing 75 hard and doing miscellaneous other challenges that we see online. And the appeal was that we can do this mental, physical challenge and really lean into that discipline aspect. But for me, selfishly, there's so many things coming up. There's Halloween, my wedding anniversary, my birthday, a trip. Christmas, Thanksgiving. I don't think we would quite hit Thanksgiving, but there are so many things that are coming up that I wouldn't necessarily want to be doing a challenge for that duration for, because then I personally just know that I would cheat and break the challenge. So with 75 hard specifically, I know that you're supposed to start over every time you miss a day, and I want to focus more on building habits that are sustainable long term versus doing a challenge that I know has a set end date. So we were just kind of spitballing and talking about like what components would we want to be part of our challenge, what things would be the most important to us, and we came up with different categories like mental, relational, fitness, dietary, things like that, because obviously we have very different goals just based on stages of our lives and just the type of fitness that we want, even down to like the physique that we want. It's very different. So we set our goals, and for me, let me show you my handy dandy habit tracking list. So nicely dubbed just challenge. Great. So our overall rules, we wanted to do a daily devotion, 10 pages of a book. Notice that it's not a nonfiction book because I don't want to do that, but 10 pages of a book. Hit our protein goals, get into bed by a certain time each day, follow and track our workouts, and spend quality family time once weekly. And then we each have our separate goals. So for me, my priorities are mental clarity, strength training, better eating, and better rest/recovery, because I sometimes struggle to focus on those things. And my gym goal specifically, I want to grow my glutes, because who doesn't want to do that? Increase my mobility, because I've been on a big kick with just trying to be more mobile and do these crazy things that I also see online. In the first 2 minutes of this video, you're gonna really know that I'm heavily influenced by the internet. I also want to get a stronger core and more defined abdominal muscles, like not just have a strong core functionally and aesthetically. And then I also need to get more protein. I set my goal at 120 grams daily. I want to limit gluten, sugar, and dairy. That's partially on doctors' recommendations for me, but it's also just because I've been told by so many different sources that those are inflammatory foods, and just cutting back on them can help reduce bloating, can help you feel less lethargic, can help you feel better overall. And I'm not doing anything extreme as far as completely cutting them out, but I would just say if there's an option to avoid them or to make a substitution, then I will, and I won't necessarily include them in a meal if I don't have to. But also, if there's no other option, I'm not going to sit out the meal, I suppose. I also set for my mental goals, I want to do a 5-minute meditation daily, minimum, and do journal and prayer time daily, and work on either one creative project or read daily. And whenever I say creative project, it could be anything. So it could be podcasting, it could be YouTube, it could be writing something, it could be honestly just reading, it could be doodling, crocheting, anything. I just wanted to have something that's going to serve as more of an off the phone outlet, because my job is on the computer. I'm working on my phone all the time, and it's so easy to just, swipe off of your work app, end up on social media. And I know we've all probably lost endless hours to just scrolling online when the day is over, and I don't want to do that. So having all of these things in a checklist, and I have them all on this app. It's called OnRise. It's a really handy little app. It's actually free, but I have all my little challenges. It's very cute. So you can see what you have going on for the day. It's nothing crazy. It just is very helpful with tracking everything. So I have been using it. You just get a little check mark after each day. This is what I use. And it's crazy how much I, as a person, can be incentivized by something as simple as crossing it off of a to-do list. So if I had just told myself, which I've done a million times before, that I want to read more, I want to hit my protein goal, I want to do this, but I don't make it a distinct priority, then I won't do it. So I don't know if it's this Pavlovian instinct that we have as people to cross things off of the list, or to get the little like ding and check mark from like whatever reward system that we have. I'm not sure if it's that, or if it's the accountability that I'm having by doing this challenge with my brother, or what is really incentivizing me to be more motivated. But there's several things that I've noticed throughout the course of this challenge, aka the past 6 days. For me, I think that I've been going through a lot of changes as far as the way that I'm viewing food, and I could go into such great detail with this, but part of it has been the change from seeing food as a reward, as a treat, as a source of happiness, as something fun, to seeing food as fuel. And I didn't make that shift until I started counting my protein. So I'm not doing a calorie max, I'm not doing a calorie minimum, I'm not doing anything like that, but I am doing a protein minimum. So in order to get my protein, I have to track the foods that I'm eating. And one, it made me realize that I'm consistently overeating at just about every meal because you portion control, or I portion control based on what looks good. And if I'm super hungry, a lot of food looks good. And then once you serve that amount onto your plate, you're gonna eat it because that's the amount that you've served yourself, so you don't want to waste the food. At least I will. So for me, measuring the food out beforehand and knowing how much food the serving size is compared to how much I'm just blindly putting onto my plate or into my coffee, for example. I didn't realize that the coffee creamer the serving size is for, I think, 2 tablespoons, and the amount that I typically put into my morning coffee is about 8 tablespoons. So I'm using 4 times the recommended serving size every single morning. But when you just glance at the label, it says, oh, only 35 calories. This is great. So without getting into the weeds as far as calorie counting, because I'm honestly not doing that, I'm not trying to keep my calories below a certain point. But that's one thing that I feel like really clicked for me, was seeing how different my ingestion of food is compared to what it probably should be. And putting a heavier emphasis on the protein goal, I've been eating less because I've been conscious of all the food that I'm consuming, but I'm also more full, more satiated. I feel like I have sustained energy all day versus trying to make one coffee last me until 4 p.m., things like that. So I genuinely do feel better. And making a goal to work out every day, I thought would be more of a challenge. And not every day, it's 5 days a week for me. That's my personal goal. But making that a goal, I thought would feel very confining in the sense that I have to go to the gym, so now it's a chore, now it's not going to feel good. But almost having this challenge has created a space for me to have excuses to get out of other things. So saying no to social plans because I need to go to the gym. And I'm just in a stage right now that probably wouldn't have sounded appealing to even me months ago, but I need the structure. There's so much changing. There's so many difficult things that I feel like have been thrown at me recently. So having the structure to exist within, where I can count on these parameters, these are things that I know are going to happen today. I know I'm going to have my meditation time. I know I'm going to have my gym time. I know I'm going to have my journaling time. Those things all, I think, help give me the structure that I need to stay sane. And when you're going through a difficult time, I think that it can be really easy to slip backwards down this slope of looking to food for comfort, doom scrolling, binging Netflix, doing things that are traditionally just comforting things, but ultimately they just make you feel worse. So for me, if I lay around all day and have junk food and doom scroll, I end up with the worst sense of anxiety. I feel I feel behind. I feel just generally anxious. I'm comparing myself. I feel just poor in a lot of ways. So this challenge has helped me, one, keep my mind off of the things about my circumstances that aren't great, but it gives me this sense of purpose. Like I wake up and I already know I have all of these things to tackle, so it helps keep me on track in that sense as well. I feel my day today. This is Friday, so this is almost the end of the challenge. So tomorrow, Saturday, will be the last day. But this week has been very busy, and it just didn't feel organic to set up the camera and do everything. I didn't have time. I was actually living my life and doing things. But Fridays are typically slower for me. So today I had the ability to set up the camera before I did these little things. And I don't know if you want to see 6 days of me doing the exact same stuff anyways. So that's been week 1. It's been fantastic. Let's get our groceries together, get ready for the next phase of the weekend, and set ourselves up for success next week.